Hello and welcome back to another video. I thought I'd do something different for this one and show you some photos that I've taken throughout the month of January. I thought about doing a video like this at the end of every month quite a while ago, but I didn't want to do it then as it was in March and I wanted to do like a full calendar year, so starting at January and then finishing at December. So yeah, this will be the start of a new series and I think it'll be quite interesting for myself to look back on. The first photos that I took this month were of the Pentax 6-7 extension tubes and I took some photos of Jen. But I'm not really a big fan of these photos, in fact I don't really like them at all. I reckon if I had colour film then they would look a bit better because the light was very nice, but in black and white they just look really boring. I also developed these at home with some very old chemicals and I think that didn't really help them very much. After that I then got some photos of Sam, also with the extension tubes. And once again I wasn't really that impressed with the extension tubes. I thought they would be really good, but I found them quite awkward to use and I'm not really that fussed about the results. I do however like this photo of Sam, and if more of the photos I captured were this good then I may have thought about using this setup a lot more. But sadly every other photo was quite lackluster, so I've now sold my Pentax 6-7 and my extension tubes are up on eBay. Getting the extension tubes was sort of like the last resort for me to not sell my Pentax. I thought it may change the way I shot with this camera and it may make me enjoy it again. But sadly that just didn't happen and my Pentax is now gone. It used to sit there, it's not there anymore. Not long after getting those photos of Sam, I ended up visiting my great granddad and getting this portrait on my GFX of my granddad, his wife and their dog Pepper. I also took 2 photos on 4x5 and I'm hoping they turn out well so I can make a darkroom print for my granddad, but I haven't developed the sheets yet as the developing machines at uni are down for maintenance. If you've been watching my recent YouTube videos, it won't be a surprise to you that most of the photos this month have been taken with the Fujifilm X100V. Over the course of a few weeks, I have taken hundreds of photos with the X100V and it has quickly become a camera that I've fallen in love with. I started off by using the camera the same way that I would use my Sony or my GFX, but I found that I would get a lot better results if I just used it as a point and shoot like my Olympus Mu. So that's what I started doing and I love the results. I was taking photos and having fun, just capturing anything and everything. I really felt like I was using my Olympus Mu, but with just an infinite amount of film. After using this camera, I now realise why it's so popular. It's just simply a fun and also brilliant camera. I then found out how nice the flash was after accidentally taking a photo with it on. Just by taking a brief look at my work, you can tell that I don't use flash much whatsoever. I only use it on my point and shoot film camera or when I'm rarely in the studio, I just avoid it everywhere else. But once I took a photo of the X100V, not realising that the flash was on, I fell in love with the look. The flash on this camera is quite soft and flattering, especially when partnered up with the classic negative film simulation. I'll quit waffling and just let you see a bunch of images. Like I said before, I sold my Pentax 6-7, and I was originally going to buy a Mamiya RB67, but after doing some research, I found out that the one I wanted was the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD, which was just that bit out of my price range. And that got me thinking, how much would I actually use it? Considering that for the last 8 or 9 months, I've only shot a handful of rolls with my Pentax 6-7, and also considering that I only like a few shots here and there on those rolls, I was wondering if it was even worth me getting another medium format camera. Because at this point with medium format, I'm just spending money and not getting that many results I actually like. So that's why I thought it would be a good idea to get something that I would use a lot more. And I already knew exactly what I wanted to get, and that was a 50mm f1.4 lens for my Sony. But the problem was I couldn't afford the Sony version or even a Sigma version because eBay's transaction fees took over £120 off me for selling my Pentax. So that is when I found the Samyang 50mm f1.4 Mark II. I watched a bunch of reviews and done a bit of research, and everything seemed good apart from this one review where they said they had some issues with the focusing, but I thought that was just a one-off because, you know, everything else I've watched has been like amazing about this lens, and I thought it would be a really good deal. So I bought the lens from MPB, and it only took me 5 minutes to realise that that video wasn't just a one-off. The lens is absolutely terrible at focusing. I took quite a few photos while testing this lens, and I've only got a handful of them that are actually in focus. I've done 3 tests in total, 2 around the house and 1 outdoors. I didn't really like any of the photos that I took around the house apart from this one of my cat Dexter. So when I was going outdoors, I was hoping that all of my negative thoughts would be washed away, and I realised how much of a good lens this actually was. But that didn't happen. It just made me not like the lens even more. The focusing was terrible, there was quite a bit of chromatic aberration, and the 1.4 aperture really wasn't anything special. I do however like this one shot. It's the only photo that ended up being usable out of the 70 plus that I took with this lens. Shortly after realising how bad this lens is, I contacted MPB and asked if I could return it, and they said they could, so I'm gladly going to return this lens as I don't want it to be part of my gear. But anyway, those were the last photos that I've taken this month. I really do like the idea of continuing this as a series, so if you want to see more, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you've enjoyed, I'll see you in the next video, goodbye.